Nisi breathe. Ama nizime kwanza.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Mbona nataka kudoze?
I'll control it from there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we don't have a projector today.
No, the problem is with the remote. But let me see what I can do with this one.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think we used this last time. Yeah. Needs. I can actually use the mic. I can use this so that I can walk around.
Okay.
Yeah. I only need a place to project, that's it. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Good evening. As he tries to set up, maybe I can introduce myself again for the ones who were not here last week. My name is George Njoroge. I am a psychologist at Chiromo Hospital Group. And I was here last week, and I think majority of us were here. And I'm sure you remember what we discussed. And what I had planned to do first is to ensure that we do a recap. One, for our own sake, to remember what we learned. And secondly, for us to be able to accommodate everyone else so that they don't feel as if they were not with us last week. Before I do that, I'll introduce someone who came with us. I'm surprised that Felicity has introduced him as my friend, and he is our friend. I'd rather he introduces himself so that at least I do not mention anything that is unnecessary, and he won't forgive me for that. You can stand, there's a camera.
Yes? No, I'm amazed to see Brian Wambuki, the guy who is projecting food here. I learned with him for 4 years in high school. I've never seen him since then.
Mention the high school. No, I'll start with the prestigious.
Gentlemen of consolidated.
Yes.
Anyway, that's not part of the introduction, but it's partly part of it. So my name is James Nyawera. I take care of patients in Tujijue County Hospital, the medical officer. And George Joroge is my good friend and Felista. We do think and talk and discuss about mental health and wellness. And I was visiting in this town where we live in the village. I always mesmerized to come to the site of St. Andrews the fisherman and remember the memories from 1910, and especially if it's still back by these grounds. And so when I heard they are coming to this place, I said, well, why it was such a great honor to see all of you and to be here and to learn together with you. So asanteni sana even for the welcome. Those sijapata matazi mbaya wenye wanakaribishana wameshika, but I'd like to thank you, George, even for the invite.
Right. Thank you, James. And I've never done this in front of him, so I don't know what he'll think, because he knows me in a different view. So welcome to my world. Yeah, perfect. So last time we discussed about personality, and before we go into the part 2 of our discussion today, today I see we are quite many, but still I would like us to just do a recap of what we learned. I remember a couple of faces, so when I point at you, feel free to remind us what we did so that the rest who are not here, they can be able to get. So what did you learn? Or maybe what was your take home? All right, perfect. Let me look for someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we learned about personalities and specifically temperaments. Phlegmatic, choleric, melancholic, and sanguine. Yeah. And my take home was that a temperament does not necessarily. A temperament explains why we do things the way we do them, and they can change. Like I could be sanguine for 2 years, and then based on my environment, it changes later on, and that's okay. It's okay if it changes. It's not abnormality.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I think we agreed our temperament is more of what we were born with, and we more or less go back to our default settings at some point. I think you're here. What do you remember?
What I learned something about those who are sanguine. They love people, they are loud, they are outgoing, they are cheerful, they talk, okay, they don't reserve much to them, they share. And okay, I came to learn my own personality. It was a blend of not choleric, melancholy, and these Islamas.
Phlegmatic. Oh, nice. Yeah. This gentleman was there. So, yeah. Maybe.
And also I asked a question. Asked because sometimes you find when you're with people who are not like you, you tend to feel like you should make them be like you.
So when you're with people who are not like you want them to be like you.
Because you feel they are making. I think you understand.
Yeah, I get it. And I think today's topic will explain more on that, because you'll find if I am a melancholic person and I get into a relationship with a sanguine, I'll really try hard to make them like me. So because that's what is familiar to you. If I love order and this person is all over the place, I want to make you like me. And I think that's how even relationships start to differ. You feel like my boyfriend or girlfriend is trying to change me. And sometimes they do not do it intentionally. They tell you you are like this, I want you to be a certain way. Yeah. So most of the time we want people to be like who we are, because we think our personality is more inferior to some extent. Yeah, so that is why. I don't know if any of us did the Myers-Briggs personality test. I think that was the last assignment that we gave each other. Who managed to do it? No one. And you did it? Okay. All right. So tell us, what is your 4 main? Yeah.
I'm an entertainer. That's ESFP.
Mm.
So that's extroverted, sensitive.
E?
S meaning
Sensing, yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Then feeling, then passive.
Perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
T was thinking.
no, on the side, like they say, I'm not sure about that one, but the main 4
yeah.
is ESFP.
All right. Anyone else who did the 16 personality test? All right. Loss in the punishment yote. But it really helps you to get deeper. As we discussed last week, you get to know the specific qualities that you have. And I may not discuss in depth because there's a lot to learn. Like if you do a bit of research, you'll realize, for example, SPF, no. Yeah. You'll realize they give like you're more compatible with maybe ISTP, and those initials have now the specific personality type, and you get to learn more. Not that you should be looking for people, no, but it helps you to understand, why am I even friends with so and so? What makes us click? Because you're not friends with everyone, because of certain that you see in them. So for those who are not here last week, I'll just give a brief definitions of what we did. So we defined personality, and it is the characteristic of behavior, thinking, and emotional patterns that we all have. And it incorporates our own attitude, moods, and opinions that is evident in the interaction with people and the patterns of behavior that you portray. How you think, how you portray your behavior goes to your personality. And definitely it is derived from the word persona, which means the mask that we wear all the time. And we agreed that when I'm coming to work, or maybe when I'm going to work, I have to put a certain mask. That's why people will demand, we need a professional, And if I am out on a Sunday, and I put on shorts, but I cannot appear to work like that because I'm not. And even if I was professional, then I appear like that, they'll think I am not professional. So I have to put on. So that is why persona is now the mask that we put on every day. And these were the 4 temperaments that we discussed. The sanguines, who are more of very extroverted, they love talking, they love interacting with people, and they are very, very social, basically. And we discussed the strengths and the weaknesses of these people. And I don't know if we got a moment to think about the strengths and the weaknesses, because that will be key to just evaluate where you are. Then we had the cholerics, who are more power. Their language is power and control. They love order. They love achieving targets. And we mentioned that they are more of CEOs, MDs, because if they tell you to do something, you better do it. If you don't, they'll view it in a negative way. The phlegmatics are the peace lovers. They don't want any quarrel. They want to be calm. They want just to be in harmony. And you'll find their weakness is that they are not as assertive. You'll do something wrong, but they'll keep quiet and walk away. Why? I want to keep my own peace. But that now creates a very big disadvantage because they end up getting hurt. They end up being stepped on by many people. The melancholics, they're now we call them, quote unquote, the perfectionists, and they love order. If they're used to waking up, I have to wake up, make breakfast, do this. If one day they miss one thing, then it's like all of their schedule is interfered with. And that is why they struggle, because the world is not perfect. And we'll discuss why that nature, the perfectionist tendency, comes now to haunt them when they are looking for maybe a spouse or maybe a significant other. And basically these are the qualities. The choleric, very touchy, very restless, aggressive, excitable, very impulsive and active. Then we have now the sanguine. These two are extroverted. They're very sociable, talkative, responsive, easygoing, and very lively. Then we have the melancholic, and they're very moody, anxious, rigid, pessimistic, and they're also perfectionist. And phlegmatic, they're very passive. That's why you do something wrong and they'll just walk away. Peaceful, control, and they're very reliable. And I think we give an example of a choleric boss may need a phlegmatic PA, someone who will be able to, quote unquote, stomach all the lashing that they may get. If we have a choleric boss and a choleric PA, one day this PA will just slap this boss with the papers, and they won't even hear what they have done and walk away. So yeah, then these are the temperaments. So they are like the basic thing. On top of that, we have more qualities, and that is why I gave us homework to go and study, actually do the 16 Myers-Briggs personality, because it goes deeper than just the covering. And I think we agreed we may not have one specific personality. I may have a choleric aspect of myself, and at the same time, a melancholic. So I may be a choleric, melancholy. I may be a sanguine, but I'm also a phlegmatic person. So I may be sanguine, phleg. So you may merge more than one temperament. And of course, we have people who are totally sanguine and phlegmatic and melancholic. And Myers will give you all that because it is quite intense, and I would love you to do it at a personal level because it helps you to be very interrogative of who you are, and after that, it will be easier for you to even learn other people around you. Remember, we said a very big advantage of knowing your personality, not only do you get that help, but also you get to understand other people around you and how they act. Now, back to the important topic of the day. Like I did last time, I need your expectations. I'll give each person 2 seconds. No, 1, 2, you, Misha. 5. And maybe you can start us off.
Expectations for today's
Yeah.
relationships. I think for me,
Sorry? No, Juju too.
how to relate with other people with my personality, especially with the weaknesses I have.
All right. I can't remember your names. Ruth, yes. Ruth. All right. Your expectation for today. You are open-minded. Anything will be good for you. To know more. Yeah, it's okay to be open-minded. I would say yes. according to what research has done, what they have been able to investigate, and also what people have been able to answer, most people fall under either one or they have a mixture of. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's possible you can be melancholic and phlegmatic at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think my expectation to like how you can have
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay.
my expectation today. I'd like to know how different personalities affect our relationship life and the relationship.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
The expectation would be how to understand different people with different personalities
Mm-hmm.
and how to work on our strengths and our weaknesses, relate better to people.
Mm-hmm. 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 All right. I don't know. Okay, let me skip. Okay. I will keep time. Sorry? Okay, live with people who cannot understand you. Okay. Sorry, to understand? Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. All right.
My expectation is to understand the role of personality
Mm-hmm.
in how to form a relationship with someone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
My expectation today is how to be maybe with their personality.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How? Sorry? Okay. Relation? Okay. Which is okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry? To learn. Okay. Okay. So changing your personality in terms of situations. Okay.
My expectation is to, from the poster, to find out how my personality affects my unexistent love life. You heard me correctly. You want to differ? You want to differ? Okay, why?
Let me. Do you have an expectation today? To learn. Okay. To learn. I knew that would be the next thing. Okay. Plan. Oh, all right. Sorry? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay.
For me, my expectation is to learn more about the personality and how to cope up with the situation with the personality.
All right.
My expectation is to understand how to behave with others.
All right. So I really wanted all of you to talk so that at least everyone, by the time outside, everyone has at least mentioned something, because I know there are people who will never mention anything, even if I ask. So, yeah. 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 Again. Personality changes, and I think I shared the slides with Tabby. I think she can be able to share with you guys. But the temperaments are more of what you are, quote unquote, born with, like the predisposing factors that you had. And I think I gave an example of there are children who are very quiet naturally, and there are children who will cry all the time. You know, so it's temperament more of a predisposition, but the personality is what now comes out as you grow up, you know? And it changes, and you will realize if you are, because if you check 16 personalities, we have some of them that are very similar, like very, very close. They're different, but they're close. So you may change from one to the other, but if you look at those keenly, you remain to be a certain kind of a person, like you're melancholic, maybe predominant, but also you have these other ones. So it changes. If I was born in a very open environment where people are encouraged to talk, definitely I'll come out as a very extroverted person. But maybe predisposing factor, maybe my temperament is that of a melancholic person. So I'll be an extroverted melancholic, you know, like a sanguine who is melancholic. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. And there's one person who gave an example of how they were reserved. Then when they went to high school, because of the environment, they developed a very good social skills, and they were more extroverted. Yeah. And changing is not bad, because if you find that my personality predisposes me to be more of a very passive person, and you have a chance to change, it actually adds on who you are. You are not changing the real you, but you're changing the weaknesses of your personality. I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah. So it is important for us to note that our individual personality is very important in terms of how it contributes to our ability to maintain a successful relationship, and that includes romantic relationships. And it is the ability, and it also determines if you're going to be happy in a relationship or even lead to a roadblock if you're not careful. And it also predicts your romantic life, but some traits are more or less linked to the other person. So it's not you alone, it is also the other person's personality. And I think we'll check why it is important for you to be very keen in noting down what kind of a person am I dating? Are we actually compatible? Is there something that I can do for me to be able to become a better person without changing who they are? I'll start with the sanguine relationships, basically. Remember, they're very outgoing, they're very social, they want to be out there. So most of the time, they're compatible with their own type. Why? This other person fulfills what I want most of the time, not all the time. They want to go out, I also want to go out. So they become, let me say, the power couple. because they are all over the place. So people will notice them, people will know that so-and-so they are dating, and they're always posting pictures on Instagram, and you'll all know. But that doesn't mean that they cannot date other people. And for them, they see dating as an entertainment and love to go out and do. Sorry, let me just check if this thing is charging so that we don't. Sorry about that. Yeah. So they see dating as an entertainment because naturally they want to be entertained, they want to be happy all the time. But the problem is not all the time you'll be in that space of being happy and being overly jovial. And we have now the subtypes. Like we have the sanguine, melancholic kind of a person, and all of them have different preferences. And understanding yourself and understanding anyone that you interact with will help you decide if whatever they are as a person, even before you think about if I love them, if I don't love them, if I feel them, are we able to cope with each other? So for the sanguine melancholic, they're usually fixed to moral values. Remember, they have the melancholic side of them who are very fixed. They want to do things in a particular order. And they seek for a partner who shares this particular attitude. That's one. So the melancholic side of them is sorted out. But they're also likely to be more conventional in their courtship. But at the same time, they want someone who can more or less be social. So they look for someone who's open, but at the same time, melancholic. And in their courtship, they may love to bring flowers, being on time, because they want to be in order, but at the same time, they want to be more of adventurous. So it's very important to note that. And also note the other person, what do they prefer? And when you talk about relationships, I know I may focus more on the romantic ones because we are at that age where most of us will try relationships, most of us will be told I love you and all that. So it's important for you to note that. So love language also may come into play, and of course your attachment style, which I'll mention at the end, because it's not only one particular thing. They are all combined. For the sanguine phlegmatic, they seek harmony, they are sensitive to the needs of their partners, and they have a big heart. They won't choose someone who competes in a relationship or overloads their schedule. What does that tell you? They? Yes. There's something. Who do you think cannot be compatible with a sanguine phlegmatic? Yeah. One, they're very peaceful and they're very open. Then why are you coming to even interfere with their peace of mind and wanting them to follow a particular structure? Yeah. So, of course, they have their own weaknesses, but in the beginning, one knowing what you may not want is very important. Then if you need to change anything, it becomes better because I'll use examples in real life. If you're a sanguine phlegmatic and you want freedom, you don't want any schedules or anything of that sort, then you meet a choleric and they want you to achieve this. I want you by 25 to have your master's. And for you, you're thinking how you're going to save money to go to Maldives. Then he's telling you, you need to save and start your, PhD. You see, because for them, they want to achieve things. So, of course, those are not bad ideas, but for you, you're not there yet. So, before you get into that relationship, because what will happen, this is how the argument will be. You are not listening to me, you are not submissive, you are always going out, But if you check on the originality of this person, they are on different pathways. I don't know if you understand that. So what will come out there is you are not, but in real sense you are just in your own skin. For the sanguine choleric, they have the good nerve and they do fine in terms of thriving on the edge because of their sanguine nature. And they usually feel they have to justify their actions and act fast. So the actions are now the targets that they have set. And remember, a sanguine is very Sorry? Yeah, and very impulsive. So you can imagine, I have a target I want to meet. For example, I want to go to this particular place, and I'm very impulsive. So if I decide something, we have to do it and achieve it. So it's very important to note that. And just to mention this, we have so much information, I may not have put everything in this particular slide. So I would really encourage you, when you get a point, go and read further, because there's so much information that you can get. So I picked the main pointers that will more or less form the foundation. So when you read on top of that, it will be much, much easier for you. The choleric person, of course, we have the full choleric, and we have the choleric sanguine, choleric melancholic, and of course choleric phlegmatic. So for the sanguine type of a choleric person, they're very self-sufficient and need a lot of time alone. They are imaginative and adventurous, which now is the sanguine nature of them. They seek someone who shares the same traits without competing with them. So I need some. Yeah, so yeah. I can continue as you do that. All right. So for the choleric kind of sanguine, they want to be adventurous at the same time, but at the same time they want a person who's more similar to them. So if they meet someone who is extra, they do not have that choleric aspect of them, then they'll more or less feel like you're not fulfilling my goal. Yes, I am adventurous, but at the same time, I am more or less, I have an order that I have to maintain. So that is very important for you to note. Then you have the choleric who's melancholic. This kind of personality, I can say, is like a hybrid. One, they are very orderly and they have perfectionistic tendencies, but at the same time, they want to, the choleric aspect of it, they want you to do things in a certain order. So they may tend to be very, very over-enduring in your life. One, they want you to be perfect, but at the same time, they want you to be able to achieve whatever you need to achieve. So if they marry a full sanguine, or maybe someone who's completely 100% sanguine, then the melancholic aspect of it and the choleric aspect of this person they will not actually even click well, because one, they do not have any adventurous aspects in them. And you as a person, you want to, this weekend you want to travel to this particular place, you want them to do, go out of their way. But for them, they have to plan everything. They're not as spontaneous as you want them to be. So that may become an issue. Yeah, so that becomes an issue, and most of the time they may hide behind their tranquility and humor. Yes, so just read this part. They know what they want and they won't settle for less. So if you're not as orderly, you're not a very perfectionistic person, then you are out of that list for them. And in case you accidentally, let me use the word accidentally, fall in love with such a person, it will be very, especially for a sanguine, I'm imagining a sanguine, because I think sanguines really go through a lot when they meet melancholics or maybe cholerics, but yes, because they won't settle for less. For sanguine, if I don't achieve something, it's okay. See, tukona kesho. Na tukona, so morani. But for this one, they won't settle for less. They have plans and are out to look out for someone who helps them achieve those plans. So more or less, they want someone who's similar or someone who will act as their assistant. Have we done this? Have we done the other? The phlegmatic choleric is the most romantic type who places high importance on loyalty because of the phlegmatic aspect of it. Hataki story mob, any hataki vita, and they'll give gifts and remember anniversaries. So imagine a phlegmatic who doesn't want any issue, they want their peace, but at the same time, if they set a target, they want to achieve it. So if they decide to love you, they'll do it completely. And that is why they tend to be the most romantic kind of people. So, kama your boyfriend is not romantic, don't blame him. So maybe he's not as a phlegmatic, choleric kind of a person. And in general, the choleric people, you know where you stand. You have to know where you stand, and you let you know what they want and how they wish you to proceed. The good thing about them, they don't beat around the bush. If they sense you're not aligning with what they want, they'll tell you point blank. Unfortunately, maybe apart from the phlegmatic who may have that emotional aspect of it, the choleric will not even think of, the way you can be empathetic. I'm going to break up with you, but I'm trying to look for very fine words to make it a soft landing. A full choleric will just tell you, you're not 1, 2, 3, and that is why you cannot. And they'll bounce, and they won't even feel anything. So the next time you're seeing him, thriving, and you're wondering, how comes you're not even feeling the way I'm feeling? Because for them, it's all about targets, and if you don't meet that target, then we are done. And they think they could have a future. If they think they could have a future with you, they become very dedicated partners and sensitive. And now this is mostly for the phlegmatic. They may be very sensitive to rejection because they don't want any conflict. So they avoid conflict at any cost. Now to the phlegmatic kind of a relationship, or maybe kind of people, and how they relate to people. The phlegmatic lover is the most sensitive of the four. I think we all understand why they are sensitive. Yeah? And when they are with their potential partners, they seek for common intellectual and emotional ground, which serves as a bridge. So because of that calmness, they want someone who is on the same level, because they don't want any fight, they don't want any issue. So more or less they'll be predisposed to having someone who more or less like them. And because of their sensitivity, they are more prone to getting hurt by rejection. Because I'm naturally predisposed to not have a conflict, then this has happened. So I'll be very, very heartbroken compared to the rest. And I think the people who recover quickly from heartbreaks are who? Yeah. Yeah, because remember you talk. So you'll go and vent to your girlfriends, maybe. For the guys, I don't know if they do that, but rarely do they. But you'll find a way to get it out. Either you go for a ride or do something, then it will be out. So sanguines are more prone to recover compared. If we were comparing phlegmatics and sanguines are more prone to that compared to phlegs. And between the four temperaments, they're the most romantic ones. I think also we have read of the choleric phlegmatic, and they fall in love most frequently, and the romance is critical to them. So yes, because remember they're very sensitive. So romance is key. They have to feel they have to feel you. You get it. Now to the different types of phlegmatics. The phlegmatic sanguine will still seek the true love, but at the same time, they like playful and adventurous partners. So they'll try and balance the two. The phlegmatic melancholic person is great at managing people because they're melancholic, so they want things to go in the right way. And they are very sympathetic and tactful. And I think the sympathy comes from the sanguine person, because they'll be voice, but now the problem with the sanguine, not the problem, but the personality aspect of it, the voice will be forgotten much faster. But for someone who's phlegmatic or melancholic, they'll keep on ruminating over how they feel about another person's suffering. For the choleric, phlegmatic, they also search for a perfect match, but they can be tough-minded and analytical because of the phlegmatic, analytical because of the phlegmatic, and tough because of the choleric aspect of it. Now, to the last temperament and their relationships, love is more pragmatic, so they do not just fall in love. For them, we can say they walk in love. Because what they do, they'll actually think about their preferences. They'll consider, what will my mother think? What will my father think? Remember, they want things to be perfect, so they won't just get into the relationship just like that. And they choose, they do not choose life partners impulsively. So before they even get into a relationship, they'll put different things into consideration. And they'll consider their friends and, of course, their relatives. And the good thing is, with the melancholic people, they have good manners, which explains them being perfect. If you have to hold your knife on your right hand, left, yes. They will never be late, you know. So if you're going for a date with them, they will be there, you know, and wait for you. They're the kind who will open doors for their ladies. And for the ladies, they'll cook for their men and all, because they want to maintain tradition or culture. So I hope you're seeing who you want and who you do not want. According to the different types, the melancholic sanguine will seek new things within limits. So they'll want new experiences, but they'll set a limit. Why? They have the melancholic aspect of it. And I think you can think about yourself. Maybe you are sanguine, but you do not go to the extreme. You know, you have your boundaries. Maybe you are melancholic sanguine. A melancholic choleric can be very innovative and know how to compromise between original and conventional ways. So they try to balance. They're not as traditional, but at the same time, they want to try out what would work better. And they'll take you to places that have never been seen, you know, new adventurous venues, new hotels in town, because for them, the choleric now aspect of it, remember, choleric is also an extrovert, all right? So they want to try new things, but at the same time, be very original with who they are. The melancholic, phlegmatic person will be confident, easygoing. They love to bring people together. Again, the phlegmatic aspect of them. And they're likely to introduce you to their friends and find that dating them will be a social experience. And that mostly will be dependent on the phlegmatic, the phlegmatic aspect of them, who will want to maintain peace, you know, and the melancholic aspect will want to show our church that I am not getting into an illegal marriage. This is, you know, and all that stuff. So there we go. Any questions? Or maybe I give you 2 minutes to breathe and to digest.
Between the sanguine and the melancholic, who's the confident? Because I'm thinking of the same melancholic, phlegmatic people, confident and easygoing. So I'm picking the easygoing is the phlegmatic side.
Yeah.
Confidence is
Yeah, because remember, they're perfectionists, so when they do things perfect, they're confident. If a melancholic doesn't do anything to perfection, they won't go ahead with the plan. If I'm doing an exam and I realize I don't have the answers, then I'd rather not do it than fail. So when they do things right, then they become more confident.
between the sanguine.
Mm.
I'm talking absolute personality.
Okay.
Between the sanguine and the melancholic,
Mm.
who's the confident?
Oh, the sanguine.
Sanguine is
Yeah. Because for a melancholic person, their confidence is derived out of what they do, not who they are. Most of the time. If I don't get an A, then I'm not a good student. And for a Sanguine, whether they get an A or not, there is a party next week. There is I need to finish this because I need to go to church. So they're not so concentrated on doing things perfectly. Yeah. And I think I hope you have noted some of these qualities will be extended to normal situations, and you'll find someone who would want their bed to be made in a particular way, their shoes to be polished in a particular way. I mean, personality, again. As you think about the questions that you have, remember, especially for the melancholic person, they'll want to seek someone who is melancholic, someone who will understand when I tell you to do 1, 2, 3 in this particular order, this is what I mean. So, but of course, because we all borrow from different personalities, you'll find you may have a combination of a person who also has different, because they fulfill a need that you have. Yeah. And that is why I'll send you again to Myers-Briggs, and there's a document, I didn't download it, but it explains now the specific. For example, ISTP is more compatible to this particular person, the types. And as I conclude, this is just an idea to help you understand yourself and understand the people around you. It is not like cast on stone, I must get married to. Because when you understand, you'll be able to foresee, this person, I think one day we may argue about this particular thing, but I like them. So what I'll do, we'll work on them before we get into now an official union, so that we understand each other. Yeah. So if you're dating a Sanguine and you're melancholic, I'm not telling you to break up with them. Please proceed. Yeah. Questions? Like didn't answer. Sorry, a melancholic?
My view is
Mm.
melancholic not going with a melancholic because
Mm.
let's say one trait with them
Mm.
melancholic is
Mm.
very indecisive.
Mm.
But they take time before
Mm.
they actually
Make a decision,
make a
yes.
decision.
Mm.
They must try and figure out challenges. But they can't just start step 1 without knowing how to step 50.
Mm.
So they must
Mm.
I'd say that maybe in the future it will be hard because there are some
Yeah.
situations that need to be
Mm.
very decisive at times. Imagine having two melancholics there, and then there's something that you need to process in the next 1 year, and then so my opinion is I think a melancholic would go better with something because they also need to have a decisive person who will take up that role and step up and say that it will be inside. I don't know if anyone shares your opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, yes. In some instances, a melancholic may not go well, but majority of the time, because of what, remember, if you try and look for your positives in someone else, like they won't look at their indecisiveness, they'll look at, this person is so bright, they get A's like me. I think that kind of a thinking. By the time they realize we are all on the same page, they would have gotten into, because that's the first attraction that they get, that perfectionist kind of a thing. A Sanguine may go well with a melancholic, but depending on the situation, in the beginning they may really not blend in well. But they can actually make a very good couple. Here's why. A melancholic is not impulsive. A Sanguine is. So this person will be doing things that this person doesn't. Like maybe this question of why are you doing things that you've not even thought of? You know, why are you just spending money on something that we do not need? You know, something of that sort. But and that is why learning this will help you to be able to understand each other and make perhaps good choices. And if you know the other person is a melancholic like you tell them, my weakness is this, so how can we go about this particular issue if we are, and I believe giving scenarios is very important because they create how you're going to handle it. It's like, let me use an anxiety. What we teach them is, if I'm going to present something, I need to prepare for it by standing in front of my family members, talk to them, stand in the mirror. So for a melancholic, we need to create a scenario. If one day we are faced with this particular issue, how do you think you go about it? Maybe if one day you find me hugging someone, how will you react? I mean, those scenarios will help you to more or less learn how to tackle those situations. So yeah, I hope but you have a very good point. Yeah, I agree. At some point they may not blend in well, but their first attraction is what the other person is doing right. Yeah. Any other question or comment or an addition? Because I know we have actually gotten something that will help us think about different things. All right, just to conclude, because when you talk about relationships, your personality, yes, will play a role, but also we have other factors like your attachment style and your love language. I think, how many of us know their love language? Maybe how many of us understand? Good. How many of us, have you ever heard of love languages to start with? Have we heard, because I'm pretty sure maybe some of us have not heard the word love language. How many of us have never heard of the love languages? Yes. Yeah. So, it is foreign, ni ya wazungu, but itatusaidia kidogo. Because, I mean, do you think your parents went and asked your mom and dad, what is your love language? See, they met and you're here today. So, we have five types of love languages, and I will not mention it because we have people who are, they're experts in that. Let me put some people on spot. 1, 2, 3. There was another one at the back, Felista. How? How many of us understand love languages? Maybe know about them. Yeah, good. So tuanzie hapa. What is your love language?
My top 3 are physical touch, quality time, and words of affirmation.
Okay, physical touch, quality time, and affirmations. She has mentioned 3, so we have only remaining with 2 that we'll learn. So what is your love language? Oh, so nyinyi mabeshte. Okay, yeah. Before we have acts of service, so ndakusikia mwisho. What is your love language?
Acts of service, gifts, and physical. I think I have.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and gifts.
All right. Gifts. So we have physical touch, acts of service, quality time, gifts, and there's nimesahau tena. Affirmation. Yeah. Kulikuwa na watu wawili. Your love language. All of them? Okay, all right. All right. I think. All right. Your hand was up.
Also, I think also for me, one of them,
Mhm.
order
Mhm.
of the one I like most, words of affirmation, time, physical touch, gifts, and acts of service.
All right. Nice. Kulikuwa na mwingine hapo. Okay. Huyo amekataa na nguvu. I think we had 2 people here. Your hand was up. Yeah. Mhm. 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 Quality time, yeah. All right. Yeah. So we have 5 love languages that we have mentioned: physical touch, acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, and gifts. So there are people who they'll feel loved when you give them a gift. So most of the time, it is important for you to understand that that's what they use to feel that you care about them. Other people, physical touch, and I think a majority of people, just hugging, tapping them, they'll feel that you actually care. And that's why you'll find people, and some people may find it petty. People complaining, oh, my boyfriend doesn't even hug me. It is actually, he doesn't even hold my hand when we're walking, I don't know, to the hostel or whatever. It may sound petty, but actually, for them, that means a lot. You may not give them a gift, but just holding them, that's it's enough for them. The people who love quality time, just finding time for them. And I think these are things that people complain in marriages. You do not come home on time, you do not spend time with me. So there you go. Perhaps their love language is the quality time. And words of affirmation, the people who want to be told that they're loved, they are, they're good people, you care about them, and they want to hear that. And I think most of the time, ladies fall under that category, but also we have men who want to hear those words of affirmation. What have I left? Yeah, acts of service. For some people, you don't have to buy them anything, but you going home, cooking supper, or even just washing their clothes, they feel this person really cares for me. And you don't have to have one. You can have a blend of different things, but you'll find there's one that is more dominant. There's one that will make you feel loved more than the rest. The reason why it is important for you to understand that, it helps you to communicate to the other person, this is what I feel when you do makes me happy. And if you do not know, it's okay. When you get into a relationship, try and note what the other person does and what makes you happy and what takes time before you feel like you're loved. That way, it will be easier for you to tell them that when you do this, I feel happier than this. Then be very observant. Why? What do you do and you find your partner, they feel comfortable, Sometimes not everyone will know the love language, and we are all learning. So be very observant, learn your partner and know what makes them happy. Yes, but if you know, it's good to communicate, all right? And lastly, the attachment styles. And this goes back to our childhood. We all have different attachment styles, and they affect how we relate to people, in addition to what we have discussed. Last time I talked about experiences, traumatic experiences, what you encountered, and in that particular journey, you tend to get a certain kind of an attachment style. We have 4 main types of them. We have a secure person, and this person, they do not fear being abandoned. If you decide to leave them, they'll feel hurt. That it doesn't mean that they won't get hurt, but it will be a very secure kind of a thing. They'll go through the process and come out and proceed with their life. And the reason why I mentioned childhood, it dates back to your primary caregiver. How did they treat you? Were they present all the time? Did they assure you of their support? And maybe this will help you at some point. The way children cry for something and unapata mama ako hapo but hata ameongelesha na assume ni kama huyu mtoto hata yuko hapo, amezone out. What happens, this child records that even if I cry, I will not get help. So that's the beginning of this attachment style that I'm talking about. So this person will be very avoidant kind of a thing. And they'll want to avoid people who may not necessarily be there for them. So when it comes to relationships, they'll be very distant. If they sense you are about to, there's some feelings going there, cut you off. And you wonder, well, I've been ghosted. What happened? Some things are more of someone's childhood experiences. We have the dependent kind of a person who cannot really, if you're not there, they feel like they're not good enough, so they need someone to be there and they want to be dependent on you. So, and that's where now the clingy kind of a person may come in. So it's very important for you to research on that. And the independent kind of a person, this person they are very self-sufficient. I will not get married, I don't need love, I am good enough, and they're very, very ambitious. What they do, they'll acquire everything that may humanly be possible for them to be okay, so that when they get to a place where, quote unquote, they need to get married and all that, those pressure from society, they'll be like, no, what do I need a man for? Sorry for using the ladies. I have money, I have my car, I have my own, It's because partly it could be because of the experience, but the attachment may also come into play. So those two, and you add this, I think we have the foundation to help us understand who we are first before we now get out there. And even if you are in a relationship, it will help you to understand yourself and also understand your partner much better. And that is the end. Most of the time, a sanguine is more prone to sway people because they have a very sweet mouth. Yeah. So it's a combination of different things, and I think an extroverted person is more prone to be swayed because they're more adventurous. If you tell them we need to go to this place, they'll do that, compared to a very introverted person who they'll put a guard over their life. So it can be a combination of so many things. Your personality, number one, but also you as a person. Do you suffer from, not actually suffer, but are you indecisive, or maybe depending on how you were brought up, were you actually encouraged to have a chance to have a voice in different situations? Because if that didn't happen, then you may be prone to just following what you are told. So it is a combination of your personality, but also the experiences that you've had, and also the skill of being assertive. And that is something that is not very common. Majority of people may suffer from being very passive. When you're told something, you just follow without asking. So it can vary from your personality, your upbringing, and what you've been able to learn from your life generally. Yeah.
Thank you. I think tutamalizia hapo. Thank you for those who joined us at home. We usually have our self sessions every Friday from 6 p.m. So feel free to join us here in person. And brings us to the end of the Hey? Hasn't been answered.
Which question?
Which question?
say you're sanguine,
Mm.
you feel like everyone should be sanguine.
Mm.
They are boring.